If you're overthinking your life, this message is for you. If you are constantly overthinking your life, your past mistakes, your future fears, your decisions, your delays, this message is for you. Overthinking does not come because you care too little. It comes because you care too much and feel too alone carrying the weight of your thoughts. Your mind keeps replaying what went wrong, imagining what could go wrong, and questioning whether you are enough, whether you are late, or whether you have failed. And slowly, without realizing it, overthinking steals your peace, drains your energy, and distances your heart from tranquility. Understand this clearly. Not every thought deserves your attention. Many thoughts are whispers of fear, not reflections of reality. When the mind is left without guidance, it magnifies uncertainty and minimizes hope. You begin to think you must have everything figured out right now, that everyone else is ahead, and that your life is falling behind. But life was never meant to be solved in one sitting. Allah did not design your journey to be carried all at once. He designed it to be walked step by step, day by day, with trust. Overthinking often comes from trying to control outcomes that belong to Allah alone. When you place your reliance on Allah, you release yourself from the impossible burden of controlling the unseen. You begin to understand that what missed you was never written for you, and what is written for you will reach you, even if the entire world stands in the way. Your life is not behind schedule. You are not late. You are not forgotten. Allah knows exactly where you are, what you are thinking, and what you are struggling to understand. Every delay has wisdom, every silence has meaning, and every unanswered question is shaping you for something greater than you can currently see. Sometimes Allah allows confusion not to punish you, but to teach you reliance, patience, and surrender. So when your thoughts overwhelm you, pause, breathe, turn back to Allah. Replace what if Allah is enough. Replace fear with dua. Replace overthinking with remembrance. Peace does not come when life finally makes sense. Peace comes when you trust the one who controls it all. Overthinking is a sign of carrying more than you were meant to. Overthinking is not simply a habit of the mind. It is often a sign that the heart is trying to carry responsibilities that were never placed upon it. When a person overthinks their life, they are usually attempting to manage outcomes, timelines, and results that belong solely to Allah. You replay conversations, revisit mistakes, and imagine countless future scenarios because you feel responsible for making everything turn out perfectly. Yet Allah never asked you to guarantee success, certainty. He asked you to strive sincerely, make effort within your capacity, and then place your trust in Him. The moment you try to take ownership of the unseen, the mind becomes overwhelmed because it was not designed to hold what only Allah controls. Many people exhaust themselves mentally because they try to solve their entire life at once. They think they must know where they are going, how they will get there, when things will change, and why certain doors remain closed. This burden slowly crushes the soul because life is not meant to be carried in one moment. Allah created time as a mercy, allowing growth, healing, learning, and transformation to unfold gradually. When you overthink, you collapse the future into the present, forcing your heart to deal with questions that are not meant to be answered yet. This creates anxiety, restlessness, and emotional fatigue, not because your life is wrong, but because you are holding what is not yours to hold. Overthinking also reveals a deeper struggle with control. At its core, it is the fear of uncertainty. You think if you analyze enough, plan enough, and worry enough, you will protect yourself from disappointment. But control is an illusion. No amount of thinking can prevent what Allah has decreed, and no amount of worry can bring closer what is not yet written. When you try to control what only Allah controls, your heart feels unsafe, constantly alert, and unable to rest. True peace begins when you accept that your role is effort, not outcome. Sincerity, not certainty. Trust, not total understanding. Allah in His mercy never placed the weight of destiny on your shoulders. He placed it upon His own. Your responsibility is to show up, to make dua, to take lawful steps forward, and to remain patient when the results are delayed. When you remember this, overthinking begins to lose its power. You realize that you are not failing, you are simply human. You are not behind, you are in a process. And you are not lost, Allah sees you clearly. Even when you feel confused, when the mind becomes heavy with thoughts, it is often a signal to return to reliance on Allah. Let go of the need to have every answer. Release the burden of a what if and replace it with Allah is enough. The heart finds rest not when life becomes predictable, but when trust becomes stronger than fear. Overthinking fades when you finally place down what you were never meant to carry and return it to the one who has always been carrying you. That clarity comes from trust, not from thinking more. One of the greatest misunderstandings we have when we are overthinking our lives is the belief that clarity will come if we just think a little harder. We assume that if we analyze every detail, revisit every possibility, and prepare for every outcome, we will eventually reach peace. In reality, the opposite often happens. The more you think, the more confused you become, because the human mind was never designed to access the unseen. Overthinking exhausts the intellect and unsettles the heart, while true clarity enters through trust in Allah, not through mental struggle. Clarity is not the absence of questions. It is the presence of certainty in Allah. When you place your trust in Him, you may still not understand why things are unfolding the way they are, but your heart becomes calm despite the uncertainty. Tawakkul does not mean you stop thinking or planning. It means you stop believing that your thinking alone can secure your future. You plan with responsibility, you reflect with wisdom, but you surrender the outcome to Allah with confidence. This balance is where clarity begins to form, not in answers, but in assurance. Overthinking often grows in environments of fear. Fear of making the wrong decision, fear of falling behind, fear of disappointing others, or fear of wasting your life. These fears convince you that every choice must be perfect, because one mistake could ruin everything. But Allah's mercy is far greater than your mistakes. He guides through missteps, corrects through detours, and teaches through delay. When you trust this, you stop demanding immediate clarity from every situation. You begin to understand that Allah's guidance unfolds as you move forward, not before you take the first step. There is also a spiritual dimension to clarity that overthinking ignores. A heart disconnected from remembrance will always feel scattered, no matter how intelligent the thinking. When the heart remembers Allah, it gains perspective. Problems that once felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable, not because they disappeared, but because the heart is anchored. Trust realigns your priorities, reminding you that your worth is not defined by how quickly you figure life out, but by your sincerity in seeking Allah's pleasure. When you rely on trust, instead of excessive thinking, you free yourself from mental paralysis. You act where action is required, you wait where patience is needed, and you accept where acceptance is demanded. This state brings a quiet confidence. Even when the path is unclear, you walk it knowing Allah is guiding your steps. Even when answers are delayed, your heart remains steady because it is attached to the one who holds all answers. In the end, clarity is not something you chase, it is something Allah grants. It arrives when you soften your grip on control and strengthen your reliance on Him. The mind becomes peaceful not when it knows everything, but when it trusts the one who does. You are exactly where Allah needs you to be. One of the most powerful realizations for anyone who struggles with overthinking is understanding that their life is not random and their current situation is not a mistake. Every stage, every delay, every challenge, and every moment of uncertainty has a purpose that often lies beyond what the mind can immediately grasp. When you feel behind, lost, or inadequate, it is usually because you are comparing your path to others or measuring your journey by timelines that Allah did not set for you. The truth is that Allah knows precisely where you need to be at every moment, even if it feels uncomfortable, uncertain, or slower than you anticipated. Overthinking often comes from resisting this reality, from insisting that your timing, your understanding, and your plans must align perfectly with your desires. But life's divine design is far wiser than the mind's imagination. Being exactly where Allah wants you to be is a comforting and grounding concept, because it shifts your focus from doubt to trust. When you accept this, you stop fighting your own journey, stop regretting what you cannot change, and stop worrying about what has not yet arrived. You begin to understand that every hardship you face, every delay you experience, and even every failure you perceive is part of a bigger picture, one that Allah is perfectly orchestrating. What seems like a setback may be protection from a greater harm. What feels like a delay may be preparation for a blessing far beyond your imagination. And what feels like stagnation may be a period of growth that only Allah can measure. Your overthinking loses its grip when you realize that life is not a race against others, but a journey, uniquely tailored. Overthinking also thrives on comparison. When you see others achieving milestones, acquiring wealth, or making progress, it is natural for your mind to measure your own worth against theirs. But Allah reminds us in the Quran that He has created each person's path individually, and no two journeys are the same. Your purpose, your timing, and your experiences are unique, and what is meant for someone else will never be yours unless Allah wills it. This is why being exactly where you are is not a coincidence, it is divine precision. Allah places you in the right situation at the right time, with the right circumstances, even if the wisdom is hidden for now. Trusting this truth is the antidote to the endless spiral of what-ifs and if-onlys. Finally, when you truly internalize that you are exactly where Allah needs you to be, overthinking transforms into patience, gratitude, and contentment. You stop blaming yourself for not being further along or fearing that you have missed your chance. Instead, your focus shifts to making the most of your present, seeking Allah's guidance in each step, and acting with sincerity. You realize that Allah's plan is perfect, even when your perception is limited. Each moment becomes meaningful, each challenge becomes purposeful, and each delay becomes a lesson in reliance. Overthinking fades because the heart begins to rest in certainty. You are not lost, you are not late, and you are not forgotten. You are exactly where Allah intended you to be, and that is more than enough.